So I'm wondering, why is a Nintendo player making a video about Sony's AA problem? Why do a Nintendo player think that they, who don't know anything outside of Nintendo, why is they talking about Sony when you have one Sony game that can outsell 20 or 25 games on the Switch? There's a reason why Sony does not make those smaller games, because they don't turn a profit over the long term or over the long term. See, people will skip some games because other gamers tell them that it's bad. And then when people start breaking down and telling them about what they're missing out, these same fools will go back and play these games. There's so many people now that are going back playing Horizon and finding out that Horizon has more detail than they was told back then about how bad it was next to Elden Ring. Same thing with God of War Ragnarok. When they walked with the hate train of God of War Ragnarok because the new DLC came out. Every time Sony puts out a new sequel for their game, that boosts the sale numbers for their older games. But that doesn't happen on Nintendo all the time because people on Nintendo own everything. They don't get new players to come to Nintendo. Nintendo games usually stay and they don't never grow. You give it 5 years and Nintendo games don't grow. They stay the same. At least with PlayStation games, their games grow within 10 years, at least. There's games that, when the PlayStation 4 came out, these games grew even more. And then the game stopped growing after 10 years. At least after, you give it 5 or 10 years, the game stopped selling. Technically, they stopped selling. But it takes 5 years for a Nintendo game to even be profitable. And I'm talking about the smaller games. Nintendo don't have any big, they don't have a long list of games. They got a whole bunch of small RPG type of gameplay related games. Their games doesn't have any story to get on. They don't have any story to stay on. I would get bored and I would try to move on. That's why they have all these simulator games. The game is this product is made for children. Some of it, no, I'm not gonna say the product is made for children. I'm gonna say that the games that they make is mainly for children. That's the reason why they don't have a GTA, because a GTA 5 can't handle a Switch can't handle a GTA 5. They can't even handle a Red Dead Redemption. And I was told by the PC fanboys that if Sony games is on PlayStation and PC on day and date, they will sell more. But Resident Evil was on all platforms. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 platforms. Resident Evil was on 5 platforms from the start, and they only sold 5 million. Wait, I thought that day and date makes things grow. And what happened to Starfield? PC game, or it was gonna last for 10 years, game of the generation. What happened? I'm wondering, why is a Nintendo player who says this: I make videos covering every Nintendo Switch with a big focus on franchises like Pokemon and Zelda. So even in his views, they're not excited for these smaller games. Then he has the nerve to talk about, will Grand Theft Auto 6 come to the Switch too? Wait a minute. But he made this idea on his newer thing about Sony's AAA problem, that Sony should stop focusing on big AAA games and they should start focusing on smaller games, even though they're trying to make sure that people play good games on a great hardware system. See, one thing that you don't understand is that if somebody buys a PlayStation 3, they want to play games that will push that PlayStation 5 to the max. And they want to play with everything they can play with the system. They don't want to play a small game and be sitting there and be like, this game doesn't look like a next gen. Why am I paying $70 for this small game? I mean, if I go to the smaller games that y'all not talking about, their games, why y'all not talking about Stray? And how much Stray sold? Sony is making smaller games, but y'all not buying them. I mean, there's games like Kenta, there's games like Stray, The Returnal, that didn't make a lot of money like that. So why are you sitting there talking about Sony has a AAA problem when they already made smaller games, but people wasn't buying them? I don't buy those smaller games. They don't look interesting to me. If I want to go back to the old games of the old smaller games, I will go back and play my PlayStation 2 or my PlayStation 3. I don't need these smaller games on my PlayStation 4 or my PlayStation 5. Why? It baffles me, the kind of stuff that I see in this gaming community, man. And now you kind of see why I kind of keep my distance. But it's just,